Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I'm doing the mid-year freakout tag. I cannot believe we are halfway through the year already, and now that I have a channel, I get to actually do this tag. It's one of my favorites to watch. Some of my favorite romance booktubers have already come out with this video, and so I'm gonna link their channels below, as well as all of the questions, because whether or not you have a channel, I think this is a good methodology for figuring out favorites, which is a very stressful process for me. So let's kick it off with the first question, which is best book of the year so far. Surprise, surprise, I have more than one. I'm gonna give you some across genres, starting with fantasy romance, which is absolutely manacled, okay? This is a Hermione fanfic. It's also a dark fantasy romance set in the aftermath of, Voldemort winning the war, Harry Potter is dead, all of our favorites are dead, and this is coming off the heels of one of his many twisted machinations to implement a breeding program which ushers in the horrors of The Handmaid's Tale and places Hermione, who has survived, into the home of Draco Malfoy. This is separated into 3 parts where everything is not as it seems. The magical quagmires made for a hard-won HEA and romance that I could not put down. I do not think I will be able to mimic, mirror, or even come close to this reading experience. It was absolutely everything, and I think it's safe to say it's one of my favorite romances of all time, even. Wow. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. The best contemporary romance that I've read so far this year is absolutely Give Me More by Sarah Kate. This is the best polyamorous romance that I have ever read. It really is. I mean, this was also a road trip romance and a BDSM romance following Drake, who really has been coined or dubbed the bisexual playboy in this series thus far. He's packing a hammer in his pants and tool bill, okay? And he's also served as the sort of emotional third wheel in his best friend's marriage, which has really served all of them well up until this work trip, where they will be touring BDSM clubs across the country. And it was the communication in this book for me. The descriptions of compersion, that true elation of seeing the ones that they love together. And also the confrontation of inner demons when it comes to accepting one's sexuality. This was a standout romance for me, and I can only think of a polyamorous duet that I recently read that can come even close to the emotional beats that I want to see hit, as well as the communication in terms of a polyamorous relationship. I mean, this was completely compelling, and I think it was done very well. I will talk more about that in what seems to be a recent reads video at this point, because I've missed mid-month. I apologize for that, but this is definitely my favorite contemporary of the year so far. For paranormal romances, I'm going with Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross. Her Paranormal New Orleans is like one world that I wish that I could step into on the weekends, okay? This is between a Savoie witch and Grimm, and Grimms have been a bit of a mystery up until this point, and they're in a competition, baiting each other with argumentative foreplay that boils over into paranormal steam. That was shocking in terms of what Grimms could do in this world, and I loved it so much. I love the found family aspect. I love how brilliant and broody Gareth is, and how gone he was for Livy, how she was so reluctant to let him in, so reluctant to be with someone as dominant and as an equal. I also loved the ongoing stories of our side characters that I have fallen in love with. This is my favorite book within the series, and absolutely my favorite paranormal. I literally was shooketh with some of the things that we got to see within this team and the abilities of Grimms. I absolutely loved this. Let's see. My favorite historical romance is absolutely, again, The Magic by Lisa Kleypas. She delivered on what I consider to be the pinnacle of romance and longing. This is a second chance romance, one of different classes, where I suffered through their separation and read their journey of heated angst back into each other's arms. And as adults, they have been matured by that loss and the scars of the physical and emotional variety. This was such a swoony romance. I even enjoyed the side story that's happening in this book. I just loved it so much. Ooh, I'm sorry if this is too shiny. Get into it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going to continue. My best sequel for the year so far is definitely Hydrus by Amara Ray. This is the second in her Immortal Coven series. She's also a new to me author, and I love what she's doing with this series. This is an enemies to lovers paranormal romance between two leaders that are bound by duty. Naya being a hybrid witch and the leader of her coven, and Finn, the Fae Blood King. Oh my gosh. I also liked how she described Finn as Psycho Sunshine, because he is very sinister and forward in his interest in Naya, and that does kick up some unneeded desire and need within her. That's also advantageous as she's aiming to aid her coven in buffeting the political prejudice that is in this book. I love how they reluctantly fell into each other. Oh my gosh. This is also a standout sequel because it's fast-paced, it's action-packed, and it's just so freaking swoony. And it really felt like Lifeblood, which is the first in this series, really did the work of just laying down the foundation of the world, and we're off and running in this book. I absolutely loved this. The next category is, because I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I remember, a new release I want to read but haven't read yet. Filthy King by Serena Ackroyd. This is a mafia romance, and it's revisiting one of my favorite couples. I need to get to it. I also want to read Bright Like Midnight by Julia Wolf. That's a captor-captive, curvy heroine and bully romance, okay? I also need to read A Company of Fiends by Catherine Moon. She's a little thick though. I'm not mad at it because this is supposed to be a reverse harem, and it's a monster romance sequel that I cannot wait to get into. I have to read it. The next question is my most anticipated release for the last half of the year. Honestly, I should mention books that actually have release dates, but I am not as eager to pick any of those up as I am, I don't know, Caution to the Wind by Gianna Darling. I don't know when we're getting that, but I'm dropping everything that I'm doing to jump into it. The same goes for whenever Pam Godwin releases her new dark historical pirate romance. I will be leaping off of whatever page I'm on and onto that, as well as Sophie Lark's Anastasia. That's going to be her first fantasy romance, and I can't wait until it's in my freaking hands. So I don't know when those are coming out, but they're my most highly anticipated reads. The next category is my biggest disappointment, and that goes to The Never King. I do not think that this book lived up to a lot of the hype that I was seeing. I love a Peter Pan retelling, but this was a very clunky and confusing world building and a very slow reveal to pertinent information that was trumped by spice with heroes that just saw the heroine as a whole to be filled. It didn't work for me. I do believe that the dark one, the second book, was better, but it just wasn't hitting the notes that I thought it should be hitting. And the romance was the least interesting thing about it, in my opinion. Just saying. Next was my biggest surprise of the year so far, and that's definitely A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. This is a trans heroine and historical romance, and the fact that the romance is a sweet and timid friends to lovers, it just rocked and moved me. Also, how Alexis Hall is just king of finding the comedy and drama. The fact that Grace Wood is really mourning our heroine Viola, his best friend and believing that he lost in the war. It made for a compelling setup and an interesting background. And although I do think that, you know, this is a little long, she's a little thick, I just think that their connection was written so well and their HEA was absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite historicals. I just kind of can't believe that it's in my hands and that like I'm living in a time where we get a trans heroine in a historical. I just think it's absolutely incredible. I'm just so excited about it. The next category is a favorite new to me author I discovered this year. In terms of romance, that is definitely Balin Crow. Okay, I love her Sugarland series. They are sports romance novellas that are packing a lot of story in a short amount of pages. She's delivering on the longing and the pining and the angst, the possession. Oh, these are so freaking good. I can't stand it. I'll leave it at that and move on. But you should pick these up if you have a chance, okay? They're so good. She also has full length, but this series was a standout for me, and she is a new auto-buy author for me, okay? I'm so happy that I found her this year. And I think I found her through my author's bio roulette game. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I need to revisit that TBR because this series hit. Next category, newest fictional crush. I have a few, okay? The first of which being Mr. Ian from The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie by Jennifer Ashley. Oh my gosh. I just love how tactile, forward, and devoted Ian was. How it was just a foregone conclusion that he would do right by her as he was pursuing Beth. Also, the swoony way in which he has all of her roads leading to him in this book. Oh my gosh. I'm just smitten by Ian. Absolutely. Another bookish crush that I've had this year is definitely Cam from Mine Till Midnight. Cam is a true partner in life. Okay, he's stepping in and taking possession of it all. In fact, I don't even see him as a bookish crush. This is a bookish husband, okay? He's hubby, he's bae. And I'm so glad that I read this finally this year. I'm actually really excited to read this physical copy because I think this is an edition that's prior to all of the changes. And I've heard that, you know, Kim is a little dominant in this team. So I'm excited to experience that. Also, I'll say Draco from Contradictions by Ampersand. This is a BDSM fanfic, and I just love his dom style of praise and his wherewithal and knowing that that is Hermione's need. It more than worked for me. I really love this Draco. I still go back and read like quotes from this book. I love it so much. I should do a reread soon. It just, oh, he makes me giddy. Anyway, next, moving on. Oh my God. New favorite character? Absolutely, Miss Reina from Brutal Vels by J.T. Geisinger. She has a samurai sword of a tongue, okay? The brain of an AI search engine. Her beauty is almost like a weapon of mass destruction, and I just love that she is a prickly, rowdy, and lethal woman. But at the core of it all, she has many insecurities that I find relatable. She is a survivor. Her sentiments on her trauma are just inspiring. And I think I'm just obsessed with the way in which she adorns her insecurities. Her attributes just astound me. I just think she's everything and absolutely my favorite character of the year. I mean, she really could go a bookish crush, okay? Reina is it. Oh my God. Oh, also, I saw the stack. I have to mention Alexis the Sword. Alexis appears in the first book in Kimberly Lemming's Mead Mishap series, the second book, as well as the novella. She is the spirit within a sword that's been imbued by magic. She is crass, forward, frank and filthy, okay? And if she ever gets into corporeal form, I fear for the heroines in this series because she's coming for their men, okay? I love Alexis. She has been, I think it's safe to say, even within like the last few years, my favorite side character for comedic relief. I honestly wish that she was real. She's everything, and I love how she's in every single book. I mean, if you want to dip your toe into it, you could read Mistletoe. That is a sort of Christmas novella, although it's not really heavy on the Christmas, and you could get into it in like a short amount of time. So please meet Alexis. I love her so much, okay? Oh my God. Oh, she's so funny. Next category, book that made you cry. Definitely Love and War by Shira Lynn. This is an interracial romance set in World War II in a Nazi-occupied Paris. And I literally sobbed at two poignant moments. One that I believe just expressed the forced fate of hate, and another that was of great elation because of the far-reaching triumph over evil. I do not think that this book has gotten the love that it deserves, quite frankly, because I think a lot of people are afraid to pick it up. It's been misrepresented by people that have not read the book, and I do recognize that it can spark some uncomfortable conversations and be very triggering for a lot of people. But I also will say that this is one of the best debut novels that I have read. And for being a debut novel, it is one of the best audiobook productions that I have listened to this year. It's absolutely incredible and moving and beautiful. Oh my gosh, this book was it. On the flip side, book that made me smile, and that is definitely Muscles and Monsters by Ashley Bennett. I got this rec from Caitlin, the Love Librarian, and I agree with her. This is a very soft open to the vast world of monster romps and romances, and I loved it so much. This is between a human baker and a wolf that owns a gym. Their meet cute is one of chivalry, and it just captures the feeling of a crush, okay? The mutual pining, the flirting, the questioning what to wear or what to text. Oh my gosh, it gave me some of my favorite things within a paranormal, okay, romance in terms of tropes. It handles prejudice. This just made me smile from beginning to end. And I do think it packs a lot of story, okay, in a short amount of pages. This delivered. Thank you, Caitlin. I loved it so much. Oh my gosh. That was also a real like surprise for me too. Like I expected to like it because it came from Caitlin, but I was just so surprised at how much, okay? Oh, standout. The most beautiful book I've received or bought? Well, because I put myself on a book buying ban before I moved, I have to bring up Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. This still remains one of my favorite book covers. I'm also going to mention Real by Kennedy Ryan. I bought this on the Booktuber retreat, and this is beautiful inside and out. I loved the chronic illness representation as well as the representation for Black love. The cover is stunning. I also love that this copy is signed, and it is just a reminder of a bookish experience that I will always cherish in meeting my friends in person. It was everything. Maybe I kind of want to mention as well my Constance O'Day Flannery obsession that was sparked during the Booktuber retreat. I bought this copy while I was there. I just love it so much. The bright colors, the clench, the sort of whimsical yet 80s style like artwork that swoops onto the back. It has led to me trying to complete the series. So I have gotten 2 more within the series. I think I have 1 more to go. I'll show you the last one and move on. But I've literally been hunting down this vibe, okay? I want all of her books now. It's just become an obsession that I'm gleefully taking on. So let's see, I think we're on the last question. This is the last question, and that is a book that I need to finish by the end of the year. I have two, and hopefully in doing at least one of these, it gets done. And that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I was gifted the physical copy of this. I have the audiobook. I have the ebook. I don't know why I keep putting it off. It's probably because of all of the hype. I really don't want to be disappointed, although I do trust some of my faves that love this book. So it needs to be read, if anything, to recoup on the investment that I have made into it, okay? Also, I would like to read Ring Shout. I saw this book going around last year, and I have put this one off as well because I prioritize romance when I'm picking something up. But this is something I definitely want to say that I have read by the end of the year. It is a dark historical fantasy, and it is set in the 1920s after the release of Birth of a Nation that causes like a ripple between worlds, awakens demons, and fuels the ranks of the KKK. It follows a group of Black women that are resistance fighters in what is literally hell on earth, and I have to read it. I also think it has an audiobook and it's less than 200 pages, so my excuses are wearing thin, and I'm very excited for it. So, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you can consider subscribing and sticking around, leaving an emoji if the pressure of leaving a comment is too much. One of my favorite things about the 1K giveaway Q&A was just getting everybody's comments. I will be polling for that. And also, there has been a very generous anonymous sponsor that is upping the winners for that from 1 to 4. So I'm really excited. I will be polling that and posting it in my community tab on the 27th. And hopefully coming out with a recent reads video very soon here. Again, thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing and sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.